To all of our clients. We have a ton of clients on the line right now, and so really appreciate you guys giving us the time. And then also we have people that are brand new to Reminder Media. This is their first forte into who we are, so really appreciative that you guys would give us the time. I know you guys' time is super valuable, so I want to keep this super short and succinct, but jam-pack as much value as I possibly can into this webinar, which is the art of following up. Now, this is a topic that's near and dear to my heart because this is basically what my business has been about for years, is helping you guys by giving you the very best tools in the business to help you scale your business by practicing consistent follow-up. And I will give this kind of housekeeping item at the beginning here is we are going to do a Q&A. We're going to do some questions and answers at the end. And so there should be a little chat box in your go-to webinar where as we're going out throughout this webinar, you can chat in your questions. And I'm hoping to get to all your questions at the end. Might not be able to answer all of them, but I'm hoping that you guys will give us some questions that we can add value to your business. Today, like I said, I could talk for hours on the art of follow-up, and I could pick one topic like the phone and go on, but really what I want to do today is cover really the 6 methods of follow-up that I believe are out there for your business, give you some best practices, some tips that you can apply. But I want to make this, I guess, one caveat that I watch tons of webinars. And the one thing I don't want to do, and it's a pet peeve of mine, is I'm not standing in front of you virtually today sharing that I have a 3-step follow-up method that's going to produce you $200,000 in commissions. What I have are principles that I've applied to my business, that I've applied to my clients' business that have proven to drive results for us. And I want to give you those principles. And the thing that I would ask is that the real secret magic formula out there, I just call it work. I call it Nike nails it on the head when they say just do it. You have to take action on these principles because that's really what's going to generate success, especially in the follow-up for your business. But just to introduce myself, my name is Luke Acree. I'm the president of Reminder Media, for those who don't know. Reminder Media, we are a sales and marketing company. We were founded in 2003, so we've been doing this for quite a few years now, really helping a myriad of businesses with their sales and marketing, but we've had a lot of success in particular with real estate agents. I have about 30,000 realtors using my programs right now. I've worked with north of 60,000 in my career. And really what I say is I'm focused on helping you guys with the most critical thing I believe in any business is how do you make sure when you wake up today that if a client, someone in your community, your sphere of influence, someone on your database needs a real estate agent, you're the first name that pops into their mind. And that's been my passion in life. That's been my specialty, my expertise. Our clients on the line, you obviously know of our flagship product, American Lifestyle Magazine. We've ventured now off into the digital space with American Lifestyle Digital, doing social media now. But not only have we tried to provide you guys the best follow-up tools, this is something that I've had to practice in my own business. As we've scaled Reminder Media over the years, I now have about 70 people on the phones. So trying to figure out the best ways to follow up by the phone has been critical. I've had to now try to implement texting into our business and figuring out, hey, what text messages actually get response? What actually is negative for our business? How do you use emojis? Things like email, print marketing, face-to-face, you name it. We've been trying to practice it in our business, and I want to share with you guys what we've learned. I also want to share with you how we've applied that to our clients, and hopefully you can take some of these and take action on it. So diving right in, I put a quote on the screen, and one of my newer staff was putting together this webinar presentation for me and asked, hey, whose quote is this? And I kind of laughed and said, well, this is us, baby. This is our quote. This is what we believe in. And I want to make it crystal clear that I believe the most cost-effective way to drive business in real estate is consistent follow-up. The years I've been working with realtors and top producers specifically, what I've seen is they build systems in their business to practice religiously this art of follow-up because they know that a long-term real estate business is not built on the transaction, it's built on the relationship. It's not built on you just being a great salesperson. It's really built on you being a great business owner and practicing consistent follow-up. That's what's going to drive your business. So, I saw a research study done, I believe it was by the Air Force, and they said that you'll remember 10% of what you hear about a week later. And then they said you'll remember about 40% of what you hear and write down, and then about 60% of what you hear, write down, and what you actually practice and take action on. So my message to you today is take notes and then take action on one of these principles and try to apply it to your business. But for those of you who are just listening to me today, hopefully I haven't lost you already, come back to me. Here's the 10% I want you to take away. If you were gonna ask me, Luke, what is my number one tip for business professionals that I have found that has driven ROI and follow-up, what would you say to them? And this would be the 10% I would want you to remember. It's this idea of passive follow-up versus proactive follow-up. This idea of passive marketing versus proactive marketing. What do I mean by that? Well, because we have so many clients on the line, I'm going to try to frame it up for our clients as if you're using American Lifestyle Magazine. A lot of the mistakes I see in business professionals and new agents that come into real estate is that they search out to try to find a system for follow-up, like American Lifestyle Magazine, like an email program, where they can just set it up and forget it. And don't hear me wrong here, because I'm not blasting that at all. I'm actually saying that's good. You should look to build systems in your business that you don't have to spend a lot of time on. But what I will share with you is that the difference that I see in scaling your business, because all of you are on the line right now because you want to learn how to 10x your business, you want to learn how to improve your follow-up to close more deals. And this is what I would share with you. The top producers that I work with, they practice proactive follow-up. So if you're using our program, American Lifestyle Magazine, and I'm on your list, don't just send the magazine to me. Follow up with me to that magazine. Pick up the phone, come by my house, knock on my door. But if you were sending it to me, my wife Megan, she's a vegetarian, so you could pick up the phone, you could literally call Megan and say, hey Megan, how are you doing? Wanted to check in on you and Luke. Hey, I wanted to see if you got my last magazine that I sent you because I was thinking about you because it had a vegetarian recipe in it and wanted to point it out to you and check in, see how you're doing. I thought you would love it. That will be the differentiator between you closing 10 deals, between you closing 30, 60 deals, is that proactive outreach, that ability to not sit by and just create a billboard, but actually proactively reach out to your clients, because proactive follow-up, in my book, always wins. And I want you to keep that in mind as I go throughout this webinar and I share with you the 6 methods that you have at your disposal to reach out to people. I want you to keep in mind that how do you make this proactive? How do you not just set it and forget it, but you build a system that's turnkey for you and allows you to spend more time following up and more time building the relationship to ultimately close that deal. So, why follow up? These are stats you've probably heard before. I want to share them because I think stats are really good to get us all on the same page, all understanding the why, because it's important that we remind ourselves that if we do good follow-up, we will grow our business. And so the reason why follow-up is so important, and 3 points I want to make, is that you got to be consistent in your follow-up, because 64% of prospects found their agent through referrals by friends and family. So that means that the only way your friends and family will remember who you are, remember your contact information, is if you consistently follow up with them. I believe it was the National Association of Realtors that did that survey of home buyers at the closing table asking, would you use your agent again? And it was like an astounding 90% said yes. Then they surveyed them again a couple years later, and only 11% remembered the name of their agent. And it's not because as a real estate agent we do a bad job at the transaction. A lot of times we do extremely well at the transaction. It's because we did a poor job maintaining that relationship, consistently following up. So the first point I want to make when it comes to follow-up is you got to be consistent, because 64% of your deals are going to come from it. Second point I want to make is it pays to be first. It pays to have speedy follow-up. This applies to your leads that are coming in off your internet sites, off your digital magazine, off your print mailers. It pays to be first, because 72% choose the first agent they connect with. Third point is you have to be persistent in sales and in your follow-up. According to Salesforce.com, it's 6 to 8 touch points to generate a sales lead. and then 80% of sales are made anywhere between the 5th and 12th contact. Now, I've applied this to my own business, looking at the 70 callers I have on the phone, looking at my social media leads that are coming in off of Facebook. We're seeing that it's literally taking us 6 calls to close a deal. So you have to be persistent in your follow-up. So just to recap, it's consistency, to keep in touch consistently with them. You want to be first to follow up with them when a warm lead comes in. And then you got to be persistent in your follow-up by reaching out way more than just 6 times and consistently following up. Now, I want to get into the methods of follow-up that are available to you. But before I do that, I think a step that we miss, and this is the biggest pain point for Reminder Media in our business working with real estate agents, is you can't do great follow-up if you don't have a list. And so you might be watching this webinar right now, and whether you're a veteran agent or a newer agent, saying to yourself, yes, I have a list, but half of it's in my email, half of it's on an Excel doc. If there's one tangible action I would ask you to take today is create that list. You need a great list. The money is in your database and how you nurture and work that database. You have to create a great list. Some segment tips for you is create friends and family, sphere of influence, past clients, prospects. Because after you create your great list, you then have to segment this list. I put a stat up there that said 83% of companies use basic segmentation when it comes to emailing, but we fail to apply this same methodology to all our other follow-up methods. And that's what's the most important, because your qualification of your list, your ability to segment your list out into your A list, your B list, your C list, is gonna dictate how good a follow-up you'll have. And there's 3 points I wanna make when it comes to segmenting your list. The first is the value. Once you create your list, you need to assign some type of value, some type of point system to each of these leads. Tell you a story. My brother Steven, who's with Keller Williams, just got into real estate about 7 months ago. And he's obviously trying to build his business and hustling out there. But he lost a deal because he classified the contact as needing a follow-up quarterly. And what happened when he followed up quarterly, he found out that they went with another agent, and they actually went with another agent in less than a month from the first time he reached out to them. And so the value he dictated on that lead was a make or break for him of actually getting that deal. So you want to spend some serious time qualifying and segmenting your list, because that's going to determine the next point, which is the frequency at which you reach out to them. So obviously, if you have a sphere of influence or a past client, I always recommend you should reach out to your past clients at least once a quarter. I've seen that to be very successful in my time doing this, that no more or no less than once a quarter. You can do it definitely a lot more than that, but you need to be reaching out to your sphere of influence, your past clients, once a quarter. But with like a warm lead, and what you're going to see in some of the methods that I talk about, is that you need to be reaching out to a warm lead so much more than just once a quarter, and that's dictated by the value that you actually put on that lead and how you're dictating your list segmentation. Now, the third point I'm going to reach to you guys is that your communication, the medium at which you communicate with a client, is going to be dictated by your list segmentation. Because you might find that millennials want the method of a text, where a baby boomer might want the method of a handwritten note. So it's critical that you start classifying not only the value of the contact, the frequency by which how much you want to contact them, and then also the medium by which you want to contact them. And that really leads me to the 6 methods that are at your disposal. Like I said a little earlier, I feel like I could talk about each of these for a long time, but I want to walk you very quickly through the phone, text messaging, email, social media, print, and then last but not least, face-to-face follow-up, and give you some basic tips and best practices that you can apply to these methods today. So let's dive right into the phone. This is near and dear to my heart because this is where I got started in business, was inside sales, cold calling. Some of you might be gagging at just the thought of cold calling. I love cold calling for some reason. It just gets me going. I love phone sales. And the most common question I get when it comes to phone sales and follow-up is, Luke, how many times should I follow up with a prospect or with the client? Now, my answer, and a lot of people don't like it, is you follow up as many times as it takes to get that person on the phone and close the deal. But there's some great research out there. It was done by InsideSales.com and MIT. They basically did a study where they surveyed, I think it was like 15,000 calls, and they found that the average sales rep is following up with their lead 1.3 times. So think about your business, think about the for sale by owners you might be calling, the Zillow leads you might be calling. Are you calling just an average of 1.32 times? That same study showed that if you increase your contact follow-up between 6 and 9 times, you will increase your chance of getting that contact on the phone upwards of 90%. So make that mental note to yourself. The next time you're following up with one of the internet leads you get, make a mental note to yourself to call a minimum follow-up of 9 times. Second point when it comes to phone sales that I've found very important is that it pays to be first, and it pays to be first on the phone. You need to reach out within 5 minutes of a lead coming in. We've tried to practice this with our social media leads. You might have experienced this. If one of our prospects is on the phone right now, you might be saying, yeah, they call me. It's kind of creepy how fast they call me. And then the truth is it can be a little awkward at first, but it's so worth it. Our stats are showing that it's so worth it to be first and calling within 5 minutes because it's so logical. That person who just requested information from you, just requested something, they're still in the mindset of what they were thinking about, whether it was about a property or some home buyer's guide or something like that. They're still in that mindset. So if you can reach out to them within that 5 minutes, the search or the research shows that you increase your chance of contact by 400%. So you want to be speedy when it comes to your phone sales. You want to set up a system that when a lead comes in on the internet, you can call it within the first 5 minutes. And then the last point is timing is key. The best time to call is between 8 and 9 a.m. or 4 and 5 p.m. on Wednesdays and Thursdays. So when you think about your business, think about setting your prospecting time for these time periods at 8 and 9 a.m. or 4 and 5 p.m. on Wednesdays and Thursdays. But I will make this sub point that this is an average across a lot of different sales industries. So you need to apply this to real estate. I was working with an agent when it came to their Zillow leads. They were spending around $500 a month on Zillow. They had gotten 7 leads. And they were practicing this follow-up by phone. They were calling a ton of times, over 12 times for each lead, and we were getting no one on the phone. So when I was talking to this person and just kind of reviewing what they were doing, it was kind of one of those no-brainer duh moments where it stood out to us that we were always calling the leads at the exact same time because they always had their prospecting around 11 a.m. And so we made the simple shift of calling the Zillow leads after dinner, and we got all 7 on the phone, and one of them has turned into a deal. And so what it shows you is that just a simple no-brainer concept of picking the right time to call based upon that prospect you're following up with can change everything about the leads you're following up with. So keep that in mind for your Zillow leads. I've really seen a lot of success calling now after dinner, and which makes logical sense because everybody's home and they actually might have time to pick up the phone. That leads me to the next message, which is our method, which is text messaging. And just a quick few stats for you. Text have a 98% open rate, while emails only have a 20%. And I joke because this is because marketers like myself haven't got a hold of text messaging. We haven't ruined it yet for everybody. So this can be of huge benefit to your business, understanding that 98% of the time, your text message will be seen. And it takes 90 minutes on average for people to respond to an email, whereas it only takes 90 seconds for a text. That means text messaging is so much more convenient. And for our clients on the line, I put on the left side screen right there a picture of how the digital edition actually gets sent over text messaging, because I want to make the point that you can send valuable content over text messaging. It doesn't have to just be conversation stuff. It can literally be content that you're sending a client and still make an impact, and use text messaging as a great way to follow up. Some best practices that we've seen that have hurt us and helped us when it comes to text messaging is you want to keep your text messages short, but don't use just one-word responses. Have you ever gotten a response from someone where it's just the letter K in lowercase? And how does that make you feel? I know when I see it, it really makes me feel like this person's kind of blowing me off. They don't really want to talk to me. So try to stay away in your business from just doing one-word responses. This is a simplistic one, but it can be super embarrassing if you let autocorrect take over your business. So make sure you're not sending typos in your text messaging. Keep in mind, I know it's not pretty to say, but if you are misspelling stuff in your text messaging, subconsciously that client will be applying that professionalism to your reviewing of a contract. And even though that's not what you're trying to put across, it's what's going to subconsciously come across to them. Third point, don't text bad news. If the inspection fails because of the septic, don't text that. If the offer doesn't get accepted, don't text that to your clients. That deserves a phone conversation or a face-to-face meeting, because that's going to be your ability to guide them, to let them know that you're here to support them, you're the shoulder to cry on, and also, for lack of a better word, it's going to let you have a chance to save the deal where a text message might not. And then last but not least is don't use too many abbreviations when you're texting for your business. This can also apply to emojis. This goes back really to the segmentation, the list, who you're contacting. You have to keep in mind when it comes to abbreviations, LOL, not everybody knows what that means. And if you do too many emojis, you're going to come across, like my mom does emojis all the time now, so it's going to come across a little unprofessional. And so you need to keep in mind who you're texting and let that dictate how much you go from the abbreviation standpoint. What I always say is a good rule of thumb is you want to do enough to be personal and real, but still keep it professional. All right, so moving on to the third method, and if I've lost you, come back to me, because I think email is super important, because email is the fastest thing we go to as business professionals for our follow-up, because I believe it's the most cost-effective. It's the easiest to get going and set up, and there's just so many email applications out there that we can use. And some points I want to make on email that I've found. Campaign Monitor, big email company, did a survey of about 2 billion emails, and obviously what they found is one of those no-brainers of 43.9% want less frequent emails. So there's, I think, 204 million emails sent a minute. So you want to make sure, I'm not going to talk to you about the frequency of your emails, because there's so many varying statistics of whether you should send weekly, monthly, bi-monthly. I believe what dictates the success of an email is the content you're providing. You want to focus on providing really valuable content to your clients, to your audience. That's what's going to keep them engaged. And if you're providing enough valuable content where you can email weekly, more power to you. There's two types of email campaigns that I believe you should apply to your business for email follow-up. One is a drip campaign and the other is a nurture campaign. Now, a lot of times we get these confused. We tend to use them interchangeably. They're really two different things. A drip campaign is an email campaign that really goes out and it's dictated by one thing and one thing alone, and that's time. You set up a list of people you want to send your drip email to, and it goes out the first every month. Whereas a nurture campaign can actually target a specific buyer's profile and take someone on a journey. So I think a good way for you to look at email campaigns in your business is that you should have drip campaigns being your brand awareness advocate. It's your billboard. It's your way to stay top of mind. It's a great way to showcase your products and services. For real estate agents, it's a great market update. It's a community calendar event. It's your digital edition. That's your way to attract people and get people interested and top of mind with who you are. And then your nurture campaign is when you get them interested and they come to your site or they send you an email, they request information. Your nurture campaign now should step in to help guide that person through your sales funnel to the close. Where a good example would be, let's say you met a first-time home buyer at your open house. You should have a specific nurture email campaign, a follow-up campaign set up for first-time home buyers. Maybe the first email is a home buyer's guide of the common mistakes that first-time home buyers make. Your second email is some properties. Your third email is how to get pre-approved for a mortgage. You want to create these nurture campaigns for the profiles of clients that you tend to work with. And then, just to reiterate the point that it really comes down with your email, it comes down to the value of your content. And I always believe this is so true in every form of marketing, but specifically email, less is more. So keep your emails really short, keep them succinct and to the point. All right, next method of follow-up, social media. We don't tend to think of social media commonly as a tool for follow-up, but it's becoming a lot more popular, obviously, today, even amongst business professionals. There's 2 billion users on Facebook alone right now. So if you're not using social media for your follow-up, you should be. And I often say it's one of the best tools out there because it's free and people are checking and engaging with it all the time. So keep in mind that Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, they all give you the ability to use direct messaging. So going back to the scenario I told you about my wife Megan and I, where Megan's a vegetarian, she loves to cook. Imagine you're on your Facebook today and you come across a vegetarian recipe or you find one on your news feed and you do a direct message, keep it real short, send it to Megan and say, hey Megan, was thinking about you, this message or this vegetarian recipe came across my news feed today, made me think of you, try it out, let me know if it's any good. That is a powerful follow-up, and you get to also see that if she read it or not. So it's a two-sided coin. She can see, or you can see if she read it, and then also remember that she can see that you have read her message, and response rates matter. If you have a business page, they actually grade you on your response rates, and so it's a branding thing. You don't want to have poor response rates when it comes to your direct messaging or when it comes to your response at all. Two other points I'll make with your social media and we'll move on is that social media was not created as a billboard to advertise your business. It was created for you to be social. So if people are commenting on your post, comment back, engage with them. If they like your post, thank them for the like. Get social on social media. It's critical to keep that engagement and keep that follow-up. And then the last point I'll make is the 80-20 rule. I want to use this rule as a way to help guide you on your social media. A mistake I see all the time with realtors is that they get gung-ho, they create a social media presence, and then they don't post. Or they create a social media presence and all they post about is their business. It's mortgage interest rates, it's market updates, it's their listings, it's their open houses. I would tell you and try to convince you that 80% of your posts should be lifestyle type content. It should be content about your journey, not just your listing. It should be a picture of you at your listing, doing something at your listing. People want to engage with you as a person. That's where the true follow-up comes in. And then Facebook, Instagram, these social media sites, they reward engagement. If you're posting about your personal life and you're following up with people and they're liking and commenting on your stuff, Facebook will reward that and keep showing your stuff to them. If they're not engaging with any of your posts, pretty soon the social media sites will not even show your content to your prospects anymore. So keep the 80-20 rule in mind when it comes to your social media. All right, this leads me to the follow-up method of print, direct mail. This is our bread and butter. This is where we got our start. We have blood, sweat, and tears in direct mail. I will preach from the high heavens that direct mail isn't dying, guys. It's actually becoming even more effective. Think about it this way. When was the last time you got a handwritten note? And how powerful was that? Because you're only used to your grandma sending you a handwritten note or something like that. And so direct mail can be even more effective today. 80% of consumers find reading mail more convenient than going online. Here are my tips and best practices when it comes to your follow-up and printed pieces. Is that make sure you're personalizing your printed pieces. Every piece that you send out, the technology is rampantly available now, that every piece should be personalized to the person you're sending it to. For our users that use American Lifestyle Magazine, this could be your front inside letter, could personalize it. It could be your recipe cards. It could be the ads that you have in the back of the magazine. You want to personalize your printed material whenever possible because it's going to cut through that noise and have a better chance of landing on the coffee table, the fridge, the countertop, somewhere in the home. Second tip when it comes to your printed pieces is you want to choose the right medium. I hear this all the time. People ask me, Luke, should I use American Lifestyle Magazine for my geographic farm? Should I send 1,500 of these? I actually tell my clients that at the end of the day, American Lifestyle Magazine is not the best farming tool. It is a core client tool. It is a tool that you want to send to your best clients, your referral base, those clients. You want to choose the right medium for your geographic farm, which might be a newsletter or a postcard. You know, people think I'm crazy because why would I turn away magazines? Because at the end of the day, I want you to do things that scale your business and produce ROI, and a postcard is going to be a lot more cost effective for you to hit your geographic farm. It's in essence why we created the digital edition of the magazine, so you could have more effective ways to reach your farm. So you want to choose the right medium for your printed piece to make the best impact and to have the most cost-effective campaign. This third tip I'll give you is a mantra of mine where never send something that you don't follow up with. I know this gets really hard when you're doing your geographic farm and you're sending to 1,500 people, but my point is that if you can follow up with the printed pieces that you send, your ROI will go through the roof because it comes back to that proactive follow-up, that proactive marketing versus a passive take, which is just send it and hope listings rain from the sky. And then the last and final tip when it comes to print media is quality matters. It matters twofold. It matters where the actual printed material that you're printing, the paper, the ink, everything like that matters, to where when they pick up your piece, if it's flimsy, if it's smudging on their hands, it's a representation of your brand. So quality matters there, but it also matters in the content by which you're delivering. That's the most important. The content is what will get you past the trash can. The content is what will get you into the coffee table. The content is what will allow you to last in the home for weeks upon weeks. That's where our value proposition has been with American Lifestyle Magazine, is in producing something that's valuable content that lasts in the home for 4 to 6 weeks. That's what really matters. I always tell my agents, do quality over quantity every time, because quantity I always call lottery marketing. And does it work? Yes, but it's actually trying to win the lottery, and it's not going to work every time. All right, last but not least is face-to-face follow-up. Now, I see this really decreasing over recent years, and I'm not sure if it's just because technology is making it a little bit more convenient for us to FaceTime with people, but I believe face-to-face follow-up is something that's still so powerful for your business, and I believe it's really powerful when it comes to your past clients. I think Brian Buffini is the one that made this pop-by method, but this whole idea of stopping by a past client's house, popping by, bringing something of value with you to have a great lasting impression with them is really powerful. One of the strategies I practice with my agents when it comes to FSBOs and expired listings is not only call that FSBO, don't only just reach out to that expired listing through email, stop by their home. Give yourself a chance to really showcase what you bring to the table, because with for sale by owners, the truth is the reason they're not going with an agent is they don't know the value you bring to the table. They think you're just there to collect a commission check, and with you having a face-to-face pop-by where you can actually interact with them and show them personally what you bring to the table is super powerful. A client appreciation event, these tend to scare my agents. You don't have to go all out and do a block party. You can do literally a summer barbecue themed, something you can do a DIY type client appreciation event. It's really powerful to make an impact with your clients and get to know them. 3 tips, make sure you are providing value. So when you're doing your FSBO pop-by, make sure that you actually have a plan of action of why you believe you can sell their home and what you can bring to the table. Make sure you have a leave behind with you. You know, American Lifestyle Magazine is great for this, where you can actually have it as a leave behind. A tip I'll give the clients on the line is that when it comes to your American Lifestyle Magazine, when you do your pop-by with your past clients, consider making one of the recipes, like the cookie recipe or the cake or something like that. Bring the cookies with you, have the magazine, the cookies underneath, pop by your past client's house, tell them you were thinking about it and wanted to stop by, see how they were doing, that you made them these cookies. Oh, by the way, the recipe's in my magazine, so if you ever want to make it yourself, you can get it in the magazine. Really powerful, and this magazine will live as a lasting impression way after you leave. And then the third, and I guess really simplistic point, is respect your client's time. Respect your prospect's time. If you pop in, keep in mind that you are coming a lot of times unannounced. So if you get in, provide value, and get out, it's going to leave a great impression with them. But if you get in, provide value, and then awkwardly stand around, awkwardly stay, it's just going to leave a in their mouth. So make sure, guys, that you actually have a respect of your prospect's time when you do those pop-bys. All right, so I have as quick as I can, gone through the 6 methods of follow-up. I want to summarize for you guys some key points when it comes to your follow-up that I want you to take action on and apply to your business. Be proactive. For my clients on the line, get in your account interface today. Take some of the names that you're sending to, doesn't have to be all of them. Give them a phone call. See what they think of the magazine. Ask them for referrals. Get in touch with them. Be proactive on that piece of marketing that you did. Second tip, for everybody who's listening that doesn't have a list or hasn't segmented your list, make sure you segment your list, determine the value of each of your contacts. The frequency will be based upon that value, and then determine the best medium of communication for that client. Third tip, it pays to be first. When it comes to your leads, as you practice in your business this week, when you get a lead this week, reach out within 5 minutes. Don't be nervous. Pick up that phone. Reach out within 5 minutes. You will see the power that I saw in my own company and trying to implement it on my sales floor with 70 callers. Be first. Reach out within 5 minutes. Fourth tip, guys, be consistent. This goes back to 64% of your business should be coming through referrals. That's only going to take place if you practice consistent follow-up. And then the last and final tip is be persistent. Every one of us is in sales. If you're in real estate, you're in sales. You're a business owner, but you're in sales. And in sales, you have to be persistent. You want to be calling, if it's the phone method, you want to be calling a minimum of 9 times. It's going to increase your contact ratio upwards into the 90% range. So you want to be persistent. So for everybody on the line, I do want to offer you guys something exclusive for joining in today, just kind of as a thank you. For my clients on the line, I want to offer you guys, if you add any new recipients up to 30, I will pay for half of them. The only promise that I ask that you'll give to me is that you will practice the proactive method and you will call the people you add to your list. I want to give you guys 50% off that. And for all the people that are listening to us that have never heard about Reminder Media before, not familiar with what we do, I do want to offer to you guys our group pricing incentive. Normally we have a $300 setup fee. I will reduce it to you for $99 today. And on top of that, I will give you 15 free magazines for your first print. If you make me the same promise as my clients and you practice the proactive follow-up where you send this out to your list of people and you don't have to call all of them, but pick a few every day that you can reach out to and practice that proactive method of asking for referrals and making sure that that client is a solid relationship and is going to be your client for life. All right, so that leads us to the Q&A session. So I want to open it up for questions. If you guys have questions, hopefully I have answers. There is a chat box at the bottom right of your screen that you can actually ask us some questions. So I'm going to pull that up real quick and see what we got coming in. And feel free to ask us any questions on what we talked about today, or even if it comes to different follow-up stuff that you've been wondering. I will give you what we've learned. And I can't tell you that it's the magic formula, but I can tell you it's stuff that we've practiced for years and years. So, all right, so what is the most effective means of contact for follow-up? This is from Hicks. So Hicks, appreciate the question. You know, this one's a tricky one because I think it gets back to your list segmentation, and it gets back to the contacts that you're contacting. So I know that almost sounds like a cop-out answer, but the truth is that your most effective contact method for a millennial might be text messaging, where they never pick up the phone. But for the baby boomer on your list, you might never be able to get a response with text messaging, and the phone is your better method. In my own personal opinion, in my own personal life, and what I've practiced and what has been successful for me is the phone every time. The phone just has a way of being able to, I can consistently call and eventually get someone on the line, where a text message or an email, I still am a little bit in that passive state. So my personal opinion, my personal preference for you, Hicks, would be I'm a phone guy all day long. I prefer that follow-up method or face-to-face because they can't run from me. Great question though. All right, so this question comes in from Peggy. Will we be able to replay this again later? Have the PowerPoints available? Great content. Well, thanks for the compliment, Peggy. Yes, we will. This will be recorded for you guys. We'll have the webinar slides up. Look for it it will probably be up within the next 24 hours. We're also going to send an email out to everybody who wasn't able to attend today, and everybody on the line where you guys have this, you can refer back to it. All right, next question. This is from Nancy Miller. So how do we get the discount on new mailings? Hey, great question, Nancy. So everybody who is on this webinar, we obviously have your name and everything like that. So we have applied that into our account interface to where if you add new names, you will get that 50% discount on your next mailing. So it will already be added for you, but you can always get on the line with your account coach, and your marketing advisor will walk you through and can show you where that takes place on your billing. All right, so next question is from Juan, all right, will you be allowing us to personally brand our digital social media article postings so that when they click on it, it will get our contact information? Love this question. So I didn't have to plug my own company. I love it. So yes, this is in the works right now. We are currently building this right now as we speak. It's something that we have wanted to do for a long time. That is coming. Stay tuned. I would predict it to be out early next year. But yes, we will be having it to where all your content that you share will be personally branded to you and will follow you throughout the web for your social media, for your emails, everything like that. So great question, and that is coming soon. All right, so Bruno asks, I just did a postcard mailing of just over 700 residents in a farm. How can I follow up and or even know who's interested in selling unless they contact me first? So this is the tough one, which goes back to when I mentioned about always send a piece you can follow up with. And I said, I know it's difficult when it comes to your geographic farm. 700 names, I know sounds like a ton, and especially if you don't have phone numbers. I don't know, Bruno, if you have the phone numbers or not. Here's what I did for a recent agent down in Virginia is we just did a mailing of postcards of 250 postcards, so not 700, and he didn't have the phone numbers, so I made him go knock on the doors. Because that takes it to the next level, where he went out, door knocked in that neighborhood, where he was spreading his brand, door knocked, and followed up through door knocking. Though he couldn't do it on the phone, which I think is more effective, he did it through door knocking. So Bruno, what I would recommend to you is do a door knocking campaign with the geographic farm that you have, because obviously you're trying to make yourself the name brand in that community. And then if you can get the phone numbers, because a lot of the list providers today will allow you to get the phone numbers, I would encourage a call. There's a lot of programs out there that will allow you to do mass text messaging as well. So great question. All right. This next question comes in from Trish. I've generated 4 sales from just sending the magazine since November 2016. Imagine the impact if I just picked up the phone. Thanks. Oh, wow. Trish, man, that makes my heart smile. So I love that. Thank you so much, Trish, for saying that. This comes in from Carol. You have a postcard program. I don't know about that. Carol, hey, great question. So we offer postcards on a limited basis. We can design them for you. It's not a massive program that we promote extensively, but if you're interested in it, yeah, we can get you on the line with your marketing advisor, and we do that for certain of our clients and be more than happy to talk to you about it and have it done for you. And that goes for anybody on the line right now. If you're interested, we'd love to get you on the phone with your marketing advisor. We can share with you. We do all the designs for the postcards and can do pretty much any size, and we try to time it right with your magazine. All right, so next question. What's the best way to follow up with the magazine? So this is probably the most common question that we get. In my personal opinion, there's 2 tips that I think I referred to on the webinar that I'll mention again, is the 2 ways that I believe I've seen the most effect in following up to the magazine is when you send it out to your list of, let's say, 300 names, is pick up the phone and commit to calling 2 to 3 a day. And when you call, the beautiful thing about the magazine is that where people struggle is they don't have a reason to reach out to their clients. They don't have a reason to talk to their clients that doesn't feel awkward, that doesn't feel like you're just asking for business. The magazine is a perfect way to do that because it's all lifestyle content. It's really nothing about your business. It's a gift to your clients. And so choose an article that resonates with you, or choose an article that if you know the client well enough, choose an article that would resonate with them, call them up, i.e. the example of my wife Megan being the vegetarian. I should mention I'm not a vegetarian, by the way. I like meat too much, but my wife the vegetarian, you know she's a vegetarian, you know she loves to cook. If that's in your CRM, reach out to her, follow up with her and say, hey Megan, was thinking about you, wanted to see if you got my magazine, and reference an article that you thought she would like, i.e. the vegetarian recipe. That's going to help you start the conversation, which is the hardest part of the call, which is having that reason to call that doesn't feel awkward. And then there's a natural transition, which is, Megan, love being your realtor. I'm glad to hear you're enjoying the magazine. Hey, by the way, I've really set a lofty goal for myself this year in business, really trying to grow my business. And my business really is fueled and depends on clients like yourself being advocates for me. And I was wondering, do you know anybody else that I could reach out to, maybe send this magazine to, that's looking for a realtor, that's looking to maybe buy or sell? And I believe it's the National Association of Realtors that says the average person knows 5 people. So if you're sending this to just 50 people, guys, there's 250 opportunities out there for you to get referrals, for you to get more deals. That would be the first method of follow-up, the phone method that I would preach to you and using American Lifestyle Magazine. The second follow-up method would be the pop-by method. This is perfect for you when you're doing your door knocking campaign, when you're doing your pop-bys to your past clients. This is a perfect item of value for you to leave behind with those people that you just met. It's going to leave a lasting impression, and then also gives you the ability to collect their name and address, because it's so natural to introduce yourself to somebody, let them know that you're the realtor in the neighborhood. If they ever need anything, you're there for them. You wanted to give them this gift, and then you can naturally transition. I'd love to send this to you as a free gift for you. It's what I love to do for my community. What's your name and address? And it's such a natural, logical transition because you're giving them a magazine, and asking for a name and address is not weird. It comes across really natural. So great question. All right, I think we have time for one more question. So let me pull this up. All right, is there a possibility that so much content could have a negative effect on my reputation? I would say yes. There's a huge possibility that if you overwhelm people with content, it's going to become noise and it could damage your reputation. We see this to be true on social media, where, especially on Facebook, if you're just constantly posting the same content, whether it's cat videos, food recipe videos, if you're constantly posting over and over and over again, you know, at the end of the day, people will either ignore it and Facebook will naturally not show it to them anymore because they're not engaging with it, or they will personally block it from their newsfeed. So you do want to be strategic when you're providing value. And what I always tell my agents is, think of your audience. Who are you reaching out to? What content would resonate with them? And then the best rule that's always helped me in my business is putting myself in that person's shoes. How much would I want to receive this? You know, when it comes to our magazine, there's a specific reason we chose every 2 months. We actually started out doing it every month. And we realized 2 things. One is that, you know, it didn't really need to go every month because people were keeping all the magazines and they were keeping them a lot longer, so we could be more cost effective for our agents. And then the other is that people actually were, at the end of the day, complaining that they were receiving it too much, so we moved to every 2 months. And so we've seen this in our own business, and I'll refer to even digital at this point. We actually do the digital edition of the magazine every month. The reason we do that is because when we looked and we tried to make American Lifestyle Magazine digital, and then we started doing obviously these focus groups, looking at it, testing it, what we found was the magazine was too big when it came across digital format in 1 issue every 2 months. It was too big, wasn't resonating with clients, so we actually broke it down into 2 issues and split it kind of right in the middle, made it more interactive, and it resonated more, and every month was kind of that perfect touch. So you're going to have to look at your audience. You're going to have to A/B test, as I would call it, whether it's your emails, your phone calls. You got to test what works for your audience and your business. But yes, do keep in mind that overloading people with content can have a negative effect. All right, guys, really appreciate all of your time today. Like I said, we will have this recorded. We'll have the slides up so you guys can refer back to it. Check us out, though, on Instagram. Check us out on Facebook, on YouTube. Please subscribe to our channel. We're trying to give you guys as much free content as we possibly can to help you scale and grow your business, because we want to be the people you use when you're looking for the tools to use. We want to be those tools that you use because we want to coach you how to use them. We want to help you scale your business. And ultimately, I believe that sales really is the only thing. So if I can't produce ROI for you, all I'm doing is creating a pretty magazine which at the end of the day, I know you guys love American lifestyle, but you're in this to drive return on investment for your business, and that's what we want to do. So please subscribe to our channels. Get on the line with your marketing coach if you're a client of ours. We will walk you through these methodologies. We will help practice it with you, and we want to know what you learn because we all want to evolve constantly. We're testing this stuff all the time. I want to hear from you. If you're trying this, if you go out, Bruno, and do the door knocking for those 700 homes, please email me. Let me know how that goes. I want to know that stuff because it's what I'm trying to practice in my own business. It's where I've seen success. I wouldn't tell you stuff that I haven't seen success in. These are principles that we've seen success in, and we want to keep practicing them and keep evolving. So I'll leave with this quote, which I often leave with, which is the difference between a mediocre agent and a top producer is that a top producer takes action. So I know I've given you a ton of content, but pick one of these principles and take action today on one of these principles in your business. I hope you guys have a great day. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll be in touch soon.